Everybody, Megaro 31 back here for FSI DFS. I did get a chance to break away from my conference that I'm at. I'm recording in the hotel room. I got a little bit better setup today, so thank you for those put up with yesterday's video. It was a little bit low tech, but I think I don't have exactly my home setup here, but I think it's good. So turn the AC off, so hopefully it wasn't too hot in here for it, so there's not too much background noise, but I can't promise what's going to come up and down the hallway. So we'll get into this quick. There is an early slate today. FanDuel has 4 games. DK has 3 games. I do believe that the Yankees and the Angels are probably going to get rained out. So I'm just not even going to touch that game because you've got 2 good pitchers, Cortez and Ohtani. I understand if you want to play them, but pretty much if you want to play the early slate, just take Manoah as your SP1. SP2 on DK, I would go with Kluber. I'm going to stack the Minnesota Twins. You can go with Toronto if you want to, but Cueto, I know he's not the same pitcher, but righty, he's been okay against. So I think Toronto's more of a GPP, but definitely in cash. I'm going to stack as many Twins as I can against a young pitcher and Fado there, and I'm going to fill in with cheap Tampa Bay pieces for that. So onto the main slate, and again we have a discrepancy because FanDuel is starting their slate at 6:40. DK is actually doing a normal time at 7:05. FanDuel is not including the second half of the Yankees game. DK is. So I tried on the screen here to differentiate the FanDuel play. So starting the first game, you have the Washington Nationals and Cincinnati Reds. You have Jalen Adon and Graham Ashcroft, who I didn't even put up on the board here. I think both pitchers are pretty much fades here for their really look for offense here in this FanDuel matchup. I think Cincinnati, the total is 10 here. You have a 5.31 total and a 4.69 total. So look for some offense here. Definitely love the Cincinnati Reds. I think they make any other major stack work here as a secondary stack, or you can go primary, especially on FanDuel, like, you know, get 4 of them in there, but at least 3 of them in there. They're super, super cheap. Great hitting conditions here. And then I think definitely like taking some Nationals also if you want to, and GPP is like as one offer some of your builds here, definitely works out well. Next up, you have the San Francisco Giants and the Miami Marlins, still on FanDuel. Alex Wood and Sandy Alcantara. Alcantara is super, super expensive, the highest pitcher over 10K. So it's a fade for me on FanDuel, even though San Francisco, I think it's an okay matchup and an okay park. San Francisco's total is only 323, but I don't want to pay up that much. I want to make the priority bats here. And I know Cincinnati opens up a lot. So if you want to be different and play Alcantara, that's fine. But I think, you know, he'd be my 4th favorite on the slate here. But I think Alex Wood, I love his SP1 here. You have Miami coming off of Coors Field. They had to travel. They're in their home stadium, but it's more of a pitcher park. Wood's been decent this year, and he's really, really cheap compared to some of the other pitchers. So I think I'm just going to lock him in as my SB1 here and move on. Okay, so now moving on. The next game up we have is the Los Angeles Angels and New York Yankees. This was not on FanDuel. This one is on DK. Again, I'm going to pretty much cross it off. I can't even tell you who the pitcher is going to be because if the first game gets canceled, this might become the second game. So you might have Cortez and Ohtani here. Don't know if Ohtani is even going to bat. So it's supposed to be Detmers and Taillon. I think Taillon's okay. Detmers is a no. Yankees, I think, could make a top stack if this game's actually going to play and everything's looking okay against Detmer. The Angels, GPP, again, so much other ways to go on the slate. So I'm just going to kind of cross this game off and just move on. Seattle Mariners and Baltimore Orioles. The weather looks horrible here too, like a 90% chance of rain. Might get a late start, might be possible. Wind blowing out 9 miles per hour at 78 degrees. So I'm really just, I don't know. Flexen, absolutely not. He's a fade. Lyles, I think, definitely could be an SB2 on FanDuel if this game's going to play. I like Seattle for a GPP stack here against Lyles if you're not going to play him as your SB2, especially some of the lefties like Winker leading off here, Crawford. Frazier is really cheap too. Even some of the righties in there, you probably going to go full 5-man if you want to go GPP there for a stack. Not super interested in him as one-offs, but Baltimore against Flexen definitely is they're pretty cheap too, and they're a good chance, like Cincinnati, to make your higher price stacks work, like the Dodgers or Atlanta or even Colorado. So I think, if the weather holds, there's some merit in playing Lyles as your SP2 and some Baltimore bats. San Diego Padres and Milwaukee Brewers, you have Sean Manaea and Adrian Hauser. I think Sean Manaea, just by default, is probably going to be your SP1 on DK, second most expensive on FanDuel. So I think it's more of a GPP for me. I'd rather pay down for Woods and get some more bats in there. Milwaukee, they've got some big bats out of this lineup. They're kind of banged up, so I think that sets up well. Manaea is really good against their lefties, and like Yelich and Tellez, and that's a lot of where their power is still there. Some of these righty guys are okay, but I get usually against lefties, but I think Manaea is going to be fine in this matchup here. Hauser on the other side, San Diego really hasn't been spectacular either. So I think, if in the mid-range, if you're looking for somebody at 8.5, I think he works out well too. I think there's a lot of guys that are we're just call them plug and play here. Manaea, I think is decent, but I think Hauser might be not like a horrible play, but I think at 8.5 is somebody that you can just plug in and hope for like 10 to 15 DK points, and we just move on and just hope the bats come alive. Pitching last night, we thought Ray was the answer, and Baltimore bats came alive, and the chalk pitcher got completely blown up and destroyed. So you never know in baseball. Bat wise, I think leverage stack, if people are playing Manaea for Milwaukee, I think San Diego potentially. They're actually not too expensive, and I think it's a decent matchup against Hauser. So like you're looking at like guys that are like, besides Machado, that are really like pretty much sub 4K, a lot of 3K guys. So I think they make a decent fill in for you there on both sides. St. Louis Cardinals, Chicago Cubs, you have Liberatore against Keegan Thompson. I think Thompson has been decent, and again, like we're talking like plug and pray here, and I think Thompson is the epitome of this. If Lyle's not ready to go, I think he's the cheapest pitcher, and I think he's the best candidate for SP2. He's decent against righties, and most of the St. Louis is righties. Wind blowing at 5 miles per hour, it's only 67 degrees, so it's not like a huge hitting advantage in Chicago. So I think he can go out there and get you probably 10 DK points, and that's really all you need at 6.1 is just go eat some innings. Probably not going to get a ton of Ks. Liberatore on the other side is even a lower K pitcher, so I think you can play him in the mid-range if you want to. The Cubs do have definitely some strikeouts in their lineup. Depending on what they roll out, there's some power at the top, so some of the right-handed bats might be decent to roll out there. So I like the Cubs as some cheap players. Morale leading off, Wisdom, Contreras, Swindell. You're gonna probably see a lot of right hap switch hitter righties at the top of the lineup there. I think St. Louis makes a decent leverage stack too if Thompson's going to be a cheap SP2 candidate. Now we have Coors Field, 69 degrees, wind blowing in a little bit. Ian Anderson, who struggled this year. So, if he gets it right and is good against the right-handers who have most of the power on the Rockies team, decent YOLO play, could take it out of a tournament. He's only 7-1. So again, super, super risky, but if you want to take that risk, then he might be the play of the day if it works out. We have seen some pitchers shut down Colorado recently, and we've seen some pitchers we thought would do good in Colorado, not do good against Colorado. So you never know here. Colorado does have a high total at 5.23, so I think they are definitely going to be, like, his bats, probably the second favorite stack. Austin Gomber, very, very talented young pitcher, has had some good games in Coors Field, but I don't think this is going to be one of them. Again, he and Jermaine Marquez, I would love to see them get traded off the Rockies to see what they could do on another team. So Gomber's a great guy to play on the road, but I'm not playing him here against the Braves offense. Kuna's banged up a little bit, has some soreness there, and not saying if it's his knee or the hamstring that kept him out recently, but I think he'll be back in the lineup today. I think they're just resting him before they traveled. LB should move up. He hits left-handed pitching really, really well. So, and it actually Duvall at the bottom, like if it's a wraparound or like the rookie, if I think you're going to get a cheap outfielder here, that's a right-handed bat. That's decent to play. So, bats here. Avoid the pitching. Final game we have is New York Mets and the Los Angeles Dodgers. We have Tijon Walker and Goslin. Walker is just not really a good pitcher anymore up against a very decent Dodger offense. So I think a lot of people go to Coors Field, but I think top GPP stack is definitely going to be the Dodgers. I mean, if you want to play them in cash, definitely no objection there. And Mets have been hitting well recently. Goslin doesn't go super deep in the games, but I think, again, he's a plug and play guy at 9-1. I think cash builds, people are going to go Manaea Goslin, or they're going to go Manaea Thompson, Lyles potentially. So I think those are the four pitchers that everybody's going to be looking at cash. So the Mets, I think they could definitely leverage, but I think like as well, they've been hitting recently, good GPP stack. This should be an amazing baseball game. Like these two teams are like the top beside the Yankees in Major League Baseball and record in the how they're doing in the season. So if you're a real baseball fan and you can stay up really late because the game's out at the East, for the East Coast people, it's 10 p.m. So it's going to go probably into tomorrow. But I think it's going to be a really, really good series and really fun to watch to see if the Mets are for real, if the Dodgers just expose the Mets as beating up on easier competition. So it's a great litmus test to see if the Mets are for real here. So really looking forward to the series. So anyways, let me get you to lineup breakdown and get you back out for your day. So let me open up the column here. Okay, click. Technical difficulties, sorry folks. There we go. So like I said, DK taking Manaea as my SP1, going to stack the Braves. If Acuna's not in there, then you can go Swanson at shortstop. I don't really like Olsen with the lefty-lefty matchup there. You can go one of the catchers up there, Diarno or Contreras. So definitely different ways to go there. And again, I'm going to be filling them in with cheap like San Diego pieces here, Baltimore if they're in play, some Cubs. You got to go really cheap if you're going to play Manaea and Goslin there, but you can make it work with the Braves lineup. If you want to get some other decent bats in there and you want to go Thompson or Lyles, then that definitely opens up some more stuff. As I said in FanDuel, I'm going with Woods. I am stacking the Braves, and I am stacking as much Cincinnati as I can get in there to make the stack work also. For the GPP, I'm going to take Thompson. I'll throw Lyles in there. That opens up a ton of salary cap space for you there. Will Smith, Freeman, Rios, Turner, Betts, and then I'm going to fill in with Colorado. You can get a middle of the order stack there, a second short outfield and outfield. I think you get 4, 5, 6 there. But if you want to get like Cron in there, then drop Freeman, and that's going to work. Also, pay down on catcher, take another Dodger player like I think it's at second base, like Lux fits in there, or somebody else. If some of the other guys that have Chris Taylor, if you want their Bellinger, any of them works. So just pick whatever 5 Dodgers, try to correlate like within the lineup as much as you can, like do a wraparound or like try to get the guys not more than like 2 guys apart for the order. And then, like I said, fill in with Colorado. I think you have a really nice GPP lineup there. And then on FanDuel, doing pretty much the same thing, but I can't really get Colorado in there if I go with a Dodger stack and pay up for Manaea. So if there's another cheap pitcher you want to take a flyer on, I'm perfectly fine if you want to go Thompson or Lyles there. But if you do go here, then you can throw some Cincinnati guys in there like Santel. The one guy that I would kind of look at for a fill-in on FanDuel that I really, really like is Donovan, especially if he's sitting up higher in the order. I think he's shortstop and second base eligible. I think he's like 2.4, 2.5. So it's a really reasonable price to throw on there for a fill-in. So appreciate you watching. As always, if you have any questions or comments, throw them in the chat below. Hit me up on Twitter at Megaruler31. And said I will try to get another video out tomorrow. I'm still at the conference here. If I can't, then like ask questions in this video for tomorrow's slate or hit me up on Twitter. I'll try to get the information out to you somehow. It's going to be a larger slate tomorrow, so it's going to be harder to break down, but I will do my best to try to get you something for content to get you ready for tomorrow's slate. So I appreciate you watching. So as always, please like the video, subscribe to our channel so you know when the videos come out, share with your friends so that they can also get some of the help that you've been getting also from our videos and our team here at FSI DFS. If you want more information about us, check the description of the video. It is all there. So appreciate you watching. Good luck in your contest today, and we will see you next time.